Hey folks, FJB3 here, the Wrestling Nut, more content for geeks. All right, I want to talk about CM Punk and Gunther, and I also want to talk about how LA Knight has been completely left off the card of SummerSlam. I did a video not that long ago about how the WWE, in my opinion, just simply do not trust LA Knight and CM Punk in certain positions within the company. They like doing business with them, but they're difficult to work with. They give a lot of input into their character and what the story they want to create, even though they do not have creative control. So they finally now have built a championship match for CM Punk. Okay, it's been a while since he's been in a championship feud, and it's a great opponent. It's Gunther. I don't believe these two have ever wrestled each other, so that should be cool unto itself. Gunther's in his prime. Punk's a little bit past it, but he'll put on a hell of a show. Okay, so the build for it they need to work on it. Okay, the exchange on Monday, Punk was weak as shit, and he's great on the mic. I don't know why, but Gunther carried that segment and came across pretty strong. Okay, they need to build on that. It can't just be two great wrestlers like AEW does all the time. They need to build on the story. I'm not exactly sure what they're going to do, but they got to work on something. I'll think about that. I'm pretty creative. But what's going to happen here is the work that the WWE is doing. And I could be wrong. I get it right a lot. I read the tea leaves, first to admit when I'm wrong. But I believe this Seth Rollins injury is an angle to set up his cash in, his surprise cash in at SummerSlam to prevent CM Punk from winning the title. It makes perfect sense in the story. And that's what they are trying to do is the big money match when Seth Rollins is the champion and CM Punk is the babyface opponent. And that's when Punk will finally become world champion. The only problem I have with that is that these guys are old. Punk's old. They keep, a year from now, whatever, then that will happen. But you never know what will happen in between. Plus, he's been injured. So if that story works out, then that's great. You get the cash in, and then you finally get, whether it's WrestleMania down the road, Punk getting his title shot against Rollins to get his vindication. Now, the other part of this video is I'm astounded. I went through the card for SummerSlam, probably 10 matches, 5 each day, and there's no LA Knight. I'm sure he'll be involved somehow, some way, but, here's a guy, I respect the hell out of him. I'm not a huge fan of LA Knight. He's a good performer, but man, he captivates the crowd. And he can tell a story in the ring and outside of the ring. And he's gotten himself over constantly when the WWE feeds him crap. Chelsea Green does the same thing, but in a completely different way. So LA Knight has no program. You can't do Bloodline. That's worn out. He's done the Seth Rollins faction. That's worn out. He was a U.S. champion. What are you going to do with this guy? Creatively, I got to think about that. There are my thoughts, folks. I just wanted to pass that on to you. If you get anything from this content, please subscribe to me. I try to give you good shit that would be cool. I do it for the love of the game, passion I have for pro wrestling. Like I said, I get it right a lot. First to admit when I get it wrong. Thanks for watching.